Hello, hello, hello. It is Charisma with Charisma Cares Travels. So, for those that you for those of you all that don't know me, I travel the world with my son with a disability. And the way I make my money is I teach women how to invest in real estate. So, with this particular episode, I want to introduce to you three lovely women that are living life out in Merida, Mexico, doing some great things. They each have their own story to tell and how they came together as one to become S.E.T. So we will tell you all about that. But ladies, if you can introduce yourselves individually and tell us your relation to one another.
My name is Sophia. I am the owner and founder and the only employee of Sophia's Joy Tarot and Charms Readings. I met Ebony and Tonya when I was trying to relocate here myself. And Ebony is the one that helped me.
Okay. Ebony.
I am Ebony, and I am the part owner of Patsy's Daughters Moved Abroad. I basically do the relocation, and I also collaborated with Ms. Sophia to do the Set Your Intentions 7-day retreat. I moved here with my sister and my daughter and niece a year ago. So February 6th made 1 year.
Okay, cool. All right. And last but not least.
All right. My name is Tonya Cummings, and I am a entrepreneur. I am an international client concierge and an international baker. So we relocated here. We moved here 1 year ago. My story is that at the time I moved with my husband, my daughter, my sister, and my niece. So we all came as a family of 5. Now we're a family of 4. My marriage dissolved in 3 months after the move abroad. We went back to the state, and my daughter and I remained here. And so that's how we started our healing journey and started our businesses and helping others and showing them the way. You know, when you go through these different life transitions.
Okay. So tell me, what made you all move there as sisters? Like, what made you say, okay, we're now moving to Merida?
Well, for me, I got tired of the same hamster wheel that we just keep going on. Couldn't get a job. We couldn't just get ahead. We couldn't do anything. We just stuck. I felt myself just stuck in an apartment, not going anywhere. My daughter is growing up. I was at home homeschooling her. And I was like, no, there's had to be more living than what I'm doing now. And so she sparked the idea, my daughter at the time, about moving to Paris. And she said, oh, when I get grown, I want to move to Paris. And so I was like, you know, when you get grown, we can do this right here, right now. So I started like, okay, is it possible? And so we have this fear of money. How much is it going to cost to move? And so that really what planted the seed for us to begin that journey. So it took us a year to finally settle down on a country to move. I knew that we was going to be, I just didn't know where. And so we went from Paris to London to Qatar. And so we found a relocator, and she helped us narrow it down. She said, I know where to send you all. You all going to Merida, Mexico. And I said, Merida? I never heard of Merida, Mexico. So she was like, go check it out, scout it out. And then we did, and we was like, okay, let's go. So we had started packing, we accelerated our packing. And by the end of the year, by December, we was packed. We was furnitureless, because we had got rid of everything. We were serious. Yep. And it all starts in the mind. You have to make a mind. You have to make up your mind and know that you can be in a better environment. You can be better. I didn't have a full 1-year plan. I just took 6 months at a time. And I was like, I have to follow my guidance, my intuition. I got to follow my great ancestors. They telling me to move out.
Yeah.
And so I took just that 6 months at a time. I didn't have the whole plan ahead. And so that's why I moved out. I didn't want my daughter to know that this was it. It's a whole entire world to explore. So I was grateful to say, all right, come on, let's go. And at the time, I thought my husband was on board, but evidently he wasn't. And so when we got here.
Well, let's pause for a second before we go into him.
Okay,
So
good.
your daughter, how old was she?
She was 10.
She was 10. So were
Yes.
you always homeschooling her, or did you start homeschooling her with COVID?
No, I had been homeschooling her. Her
Okay.
last day in school was kindergarten.
Okay. All right. So you had been homeschooling. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit, like, how did homeschooling look for you?
Homeschooling is very free. It's there's no particular set curriculum because you're dealing with your child. You're trying to find your child's points. You're trying to find their strength. And so challenges, yes, I had lots of challenges with her, but I had to learn how to like, okay, let me find out what she really likes and see how I can squeeze in those other skill sets that she's going to need throughout her life. And so I created my own curriculum.
Okay.
And so my favorite curriculum is from London. I like their curriculum setup. They expose the children to different books, literary, they're not baby books. They're like real reading books, and they expose that to children at an early age. And so I started applying those skills to her, and her favorite author is Morris Blissman. And so he has a library of books. And so that's what I did. And I just take it from there.
And what's the name of that curriculum?
It's not specific. I just picked
the one from London.
Oh, I just picked a school. I just chose a school. So like one school, it's elementary school there. And I just went on there to look at their curriculum, what their school offered. And I just dissected and said, okay, let's do this one. Let's try this one. And that's how I just pull from different curriculums.
Okay. So you were homeschooling her. Where were you living at the time?
In Virginia.
Okay, so you were living in Virginia, you were homeschooling. She named all these countries to go live in. You all were kind of playing around with it. You found a relocation specialist. Was that relocation specialist in Virginia as well?
No, she was actually, where was she? She was in Mexico City at the time.
Yes.
Okay. And who was that?
Amber Edwards.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you used her and she was like, you should move to Merida.
Yes.
So you started that. You convinced hubby, or was hubby still on the fence as far as you were aware?
I was trying to convince him hard because it was 3 months of just arguing back and forth. I said, I gotta get out. It's like, either you're gonna come with me or not. And so he finally caved in, but it was still kind of some resistance. And all that showed up once we arrived here those first 3 months. This place here in Merida, it doesn't play. It's such a high vibrational living. It pulls out all that negative stuff. And if you ain't right, it knows how to remove you from this place. And that's what happened. He just couldn't handle it. And so it's like, I gotta go, it's too much. I said, okay, fine. So this was a 13-year marriage that ended. This was a 25-year relationship that ended in 3 months. And so.
Did he work back in Virginia, like at a regular place, or was he working online?
No, he had actually quit his job.
Okay.
And so I thought he was really serious. I said, oh, you don't quit your job, because he was there for 20 years. So he quit his job and he's like, okay, I'm in. I said, okay, finally. So he quit his job of 20 years. He said, I'm going with y'all. He's like, okay. So we thought we was all be a big happy family. And so all 5 of us came in, and so it's like, okay, we get our stuff together, we all can break apart and get our own place. And so that didn't happen. And so he went back to the States.
Okay. Do you feel like just the move is what caused it, or do you feel like there was other stuff going on? You just were going in separate directions once you got to Merida?
I think it was separate directions because I had grown. I had my, things I want to do, entrepreneurship. And some people are just not mentally compatible after some point in life. And so I had to come to terms with that. I was like, when you're still in the 90s, I'm in 2022 and beyond. Come on, catch up with me. And so it was, it's nothing. I mean, the country is beautiful. So it's a love country. So I can understand why the resistance. And some people just stuck in their mindset. It's like, no, I'm going back to something that I'm familiar with.
Did I know?
And so that's what happened. And so I was like, okay, I can't.
Okay.
So
are y'all throwing her a divorce party? When I got divorced, I had a whole divorce party. So next, I want to talk to you, Sophia, because I'm going to talk to Ebony last, because she's kind of the glue that seems to have put everyone together. So you said you met Ebony in Hawaii at the airport, but why were you in Hawaii? Were you living there? Were you vacationing?
No, okay. So I'm originally from Virginia. I grew up there since I was 3 years old. I lost my mom in 2011. And that was a year after. Oh, honey, don't be sorry. She did a lot of work from the non-physical. So that was a year after I got married. And that was the biggest wake-up call I could ever. Her dropping or passing away suddenly, because I was going to call it the weekend. And then I get a call like Wednesday night from my brother that somebody called her that she was gone. And I'm like, what? No, hold up. That ain't like she didn't tell me. I'm her favorite. She didn't tell me she was leaving. So I don't believe you. But, long story short, it was true. And through that, I was like, life is too short, because she was in her early 40s. Life is too short for me to be here and be unhappy and miserable. So I divorced my husband.
Wait, the husband of 1 year?
You're my business.
Lord, we getting rid of all of these men. We shedding all of this.
Everything we dated probably 2.5, 3 years, something like 3 years actually before we got engaged. Collectively, we were together probably about 5 or 6 years. And we got married, and I felt a little weird. Like, I'm intuitive. I do tarot readings. So I felt a little strange on my wedding day. I was trying to run away in Las Vegas. But anyway, so I went and did it anyway, because that's what you're supposed to do on the checklist of life. You're supposed to graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Graduate high school, go to college, get your degree, get married, pick your family.
Yep, that checklist.
But my spirit was pretty much like, nah, this ain't working. So when my mom died, I was like, what I'm not going to do is be unhappy until the day I die. So I put in my notice, put in my notice for my job. I was a government contractor, like a lot of people in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I told him, we had already talked about it 6 months prior about getting an annulment. And then after my mom passed and after her funeral, I was like, I gotta move on. And I was already pursuing acting and things like that. So let's
pause for a second. You put in your notice for work, and then you put in a 6-month notice for your marriage. Like that's basically what we did. That's basically what you did here. Okay, all right. Hold on, I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we were good friends. So I felt like I could talk to him about anything, including divorce. So yeah, that happened. And eventually, I always wanted to be in the film industry. So I was acting anyway, and I looked up script supervising. And I ended up going to Los Angeles while I was still at my job to train as a script supervisor. And when I came back, I was like, I don't want to be here. So I gave like my 2-week notice. And my dad was like, well, what you gonna do? Not be here. So I loaded up my car and I drove to Los Angeles, and I lived there for about 5 years working in the film industry as a script supervisor. And I acted a little bit too, but mostly behind the camera. And after the last movie I did, I was like, I'm gonna go travel. I've always wanted to do that. And I just knew I was going to Italy to get me a man.
Oh,
They love us over there.
That's what I heard. But my spirit kept saying Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii. And I'm like, but you know, Hawaii isn't just one state, like it's different islands. You need to, hello, which one? And so I was led to the Big Island. And I ended up going there, one-way ticket. And it was the most magical place I'd ever experienced. I was having premonitions. I was, my clairaudience, clairsentience was waking up. And I was like, oh, I was living like in the jungle. It was amazing, carefree, off the grid, just beautiful, nothing but me and spirit. And so I met a guy, and that guy, I met a guy, and he served his purpose of getting me to another island, and of Kauai. And I lived on Kauai and had my daughter. I have a 4-year-old toddler. And I had, you know, her in Hawaii, and I lived there for about 3 years. Lost my dad around COVID, right before COVID hit it, and ended up going back to Virginia, went back to Hawaii because I was scared to come to Merida, which is where Spirit was telling me to go. But I had never been out of the United States. And when I got back to Hawaii, because it was familiar, it was comfortable, you know, it's not the mainland. I ended up running into a lady I hadn't seen in a good 2.5 years. And she was like, are you gonna stay here? I said, no, honey, Hawaii has changed. I don't know where I'm going, but I won't be staying here. She said, well, where are you looking? So I started listing, looking at Portugal, I'm looking at Africa, maybe Kenya, I don't know. And I'm looking at Mexico. She said, well, what about Merida? And I knew that was my sign again, because I had been researching Merida in 2020. So it was 2021. When I meet her and she says that, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, I hear you. You were telling me anyway, but now I hear you. And that was it. Like when I decide to do something, I'm gone. So,
Okay. So
Yeah.
your daughter,
Mhm.
she was born in Hawaii.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Okay. So it sounds like it really was a good experience there until, you know, the change that you mentioned.
Honey, all of my experiences are good, even when they're bad, because they help elevate me. That's just how I started looking at life. And it has worked out for me that way. I've always been blessed, I've always been secured and taken care of in some way, shape, or form. Like even meeting Ebony was by accident. I was researching somebody else and they led me to Tonya, and we were chatting like we had known each other for ages. And then she sent me to Ebony. And so we started chatting like we had known each other for ages.
Wow.
And that was it. She helped me get my life right to get over here. She met me at the airport here at Merida.
Wow. Okay. And I like that what you said. You said even when it's bad, what did you say? Even when that experience is bad, it's
When it's a
good.
bad experience, it's still a good experience because it helps to elevate you.
Okay. I may have to write that one down. Give me a second. If y'all not taking notes, make sure
I
you
do it all
get
the
your
time.
notebook and start taking notes. Even when it's bad, it's good. It helps to elevate you. Yeah, I got to take my notes. I learned from everybody.
I know that's right.
All right. So I like that. So you do tarot readings. Do you do other spiritual readings?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not,
Okay.
I'm expanding eventually, one thing at a time.
Okay. And do you do more like the cards, or are you more spiritual with your readings? How does that look for you?
Oh, it's a little of everything. I do use the cards, and I have charms that I throw. Everybody like me to throw the charms. but I use my cards mostly. And I use numerology as well.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm even led to astrology. Depends on what's happening, what the reading's about. Oftentimes my readings are general. Like normally if someone comes to me, it's already too much for yourself. You need a sign, you need some type of answer, some type of clarity. So people just come to me and they start crying or talking, and as they talking, I'm shuffling or I'm moving my hands in the cards and something will pop, and that starts the healing. I even had a client, I had an appointment for her, and this is when I was in Hawaii, so she was on the East Coast, so that's like 6-hour time difference then. So 6 in the morning, I did my meditation, and I came out the meditation to reach to my computer, and this was hurting, like so much pain. I was like, what is that? Man, I wasn't hurting beforehand. What's happening? And that was the first time that I noticed that I was experiencing someone else's pain. So then she got on the call with me, and we did our greetings, and I asked her, I said, are you in pain around your neck? She said, yeah, it happens sometimes. It's a tension neck pain. I said, oh no, we got to do that. I don't like feeling this. We got to get you some answers. So I went on and did the reading, and while we were in the reading, it disappeared in both of us. So it happens. I've had visions where I know someone's going to transition. It hasn't failed me yet. I don't speak on it because I don't know how to, but things happen. I'll feel something, I'll hear something, but my gateway to it is the cards.
So you do readings online and in person?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you have a preference?
I like being in person because of the energy.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, and do you mind sharing how much your readings are?
The prices vary. I actually, because I do romantic, career, there's time limits for each one. I do a 1-year reading that I really like doing, but it takes a good 1.5 to 2 hours because I do a reading for the whole year, and then we focus on the current month that we're in. And that one is my highest. I believe it's somewhere, I do not know my exact rate because I just changed them, but it's somewhere around 175, I believe, for that one.
And how do they book that?
They can book it on my business page. They can book it on my WhatsApp. They can email me at Sophia, Sophia at Sophia's, there's an S, joy.com.
Okay, and I'll post that in the description as well. So tell me, you met Ebony. Is she this person that came to you and said it's time to take you behind the Merida? It was that Ebony?
No, that was a lady in Hawaii, actually.
Okay, so how did you meet Ebony, or who did you meet first?
I met Tonya. Well, I met Tonya. How did I? Yeah.
So how did you all meet, Tonya?
At the time, I was, so as an international client concierge, I was working with a local business here. And I was overseeing her clients. And so every time a client would reach out for a service, she would send it to me, tell me, oh, reach out to this person. So Sophia name came up. And I said, okay. So I'm talking to her and she said, I want to relocate to Merida. And I said, okay. And so we started talking, and I said, Ebony, I have a client here that wants to relocate. Help her out. And so I did my introduction, and then I passed it off to Ebony. And so next thing you know, because she was fast. Yeah. She got here like in 1 week. And I was like,
I had my passport. I'm waiting on my baby passport.
yeah.
This is alignment. We get there. Talk to you about alignment real quick. I had already heard Spirit say, move. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I was waiting on my daughter's passport to come. My flight was on Thursday to get here Friday. Her passport, along with money and something else, arrived in the mail Tuesday before that Thursday. And that was it. We were ready, but I didn't talk to Ebony until like the week before.
Okay.
Ebony was like, what? Wait a minute, what? Yeah, girl, look, we coming.
Yeah. Fast.
We coming. It's happening. So Ebony, how did you get there and bring everybody together into what you are today?
So, it all started, like my sister said, it all started when Nicole, which is my niece, she started baking cakes in 2020. And that's when we did the first interview with the newspaper. That's what she said. She wanted to live in Paris. So then one of our cousins that lived in DC, this was during Black History Month, actually last year in 2021. February 2021, she had did a piece about Josephine Baker and how they all migrated to Paris and they loved them over there in London and all of that. So I looked at Tonya and I was like, wait a minute, why are we still here?
Right, we want to
It's like we were stuck. And then to make matters worse, my daughter, which is now 6, she was having she has a genetic disorder. So she was having her seizure episodes. So it was like, okay, why are we here? What is really going on? So that's when I was like, what we gonna do? What we going? So that's when we said, well, let's go to Paris. I said, now we don't speak French.
Yeah.
Like, we can't go. So then we was like, okay, well, let's go to London. So we were so excited we were gonna go to London, but then that's when they got the Brexit with the EU and all of that. It got all crazy.
Yeah.
And we was like, okay, where we going now?
We going somewhere.
We getting up out of here. So we kept looking and looking and looking, and then we were like, well, what about Qatar? Then that's when we found the relocation. That's when we found Amber. And then we started naming places. She was like, well, Qatar. And then I'm in a sorority. So one of my sorority sisters, I knew she went. So I had asked her, I said, tell me about Qatar. And she was like, girl, you don't want to go there. She was like, they treat their women, you know how they do. And I was like,
Yeah, because
okay.
they're Muslim,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yes. So it was like, okay, that's off the list. So then we went back to the drawing board. And then that's when Amber's like, you guys need to go to Mexico, go to Merida. And I came out here in November of 2021. I loved it for that week. I enjoyed it, came back home, and we got the pack. We started throwing stuff. It was intense then. And then that's when we made the move, February of 2022. And I met Sophia, and it was just like I was talking to a long lost friend. That's how connected we were, because when I got here in February, I was trying to create something with the business. And then I was like, well, let's do relocation. So that's when I did relocation. I got one girl over here. She's actually going back to the States next month, but she's coming back in May. So I got her son, and her fiance. They came over. And I'm just being myself. I'm just telling them the rules of basically everything that I know about how to relocate, even how to visit over here. And I did that with Sophia. I'm not a pest. I call you, make sure you got everything. You got your passport, you got this, you got that. I make sure they have everything that they need.
So, Sophia, tell me this, as somebody that had already traveled, you know, you lived multiple places in the States, you had already traveled to Hawaii, and this was something that you had already done a few times. Why did you feel like you needed a relocation specialist?
I honestly didn't. I didn't. I thought I had it all together until I talked to her. And she was like telling me certain things. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't think about my phone. That's my beautiful child.
That's all right.
So to answer your question, I didn't know that I needed her until I talked to her. And there were a few things that she told me about, like my phone and to get your currency exchange in the States before coming here. And, you know, just a few other things. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, I don't know everything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because you know, you have people that have never traveled or may have just gone on vacation. So they're like, yeah, I do need a relocation specialist. And then you have people that are like me. I'm like, well, I've lived in the DR, I've lived, you know, spent some time in Mexico, some time in Colombia, you know, some different countries. So, you know, the question becomes, you know, if I can do this, why would I need a relocation specialist? Sorry, my dog. Or, you know, that's just like people that travel a lot. They're like, well, why do I need a travel agent? So sometimes, you know, we kind of need to know what it is that we need. So tell me about the Patsy's daughter.
So Patsy's Daughters was created March of 2022. We got here, we had the Unveil from the US. We had to really shed all of that stuff off. So we were like, okay, what we gonna do? So then that's when we created Patsy's Daughters Move Abroad. At first, it was just, I had a streaming platform. So I was gonna do a platform for all expat businesses. But really nobody wasn't paying attention to that. So then I converted it to the locals here. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 local businesses here in Merida that I went to their establishment and I recorded them. So this was going to go on the streaming, but the streaming platform I had it on, they no longer in business. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So then that's when I created the relocation. And I am also doing the PR piece as well. So I do create websites and logos for local businesses in Merida.
Okay, so tell us about what you offer as a relocation specialist.
So basically what I do, the relocation is $300 USD. And I'm basically walking you through everything. If you want to relocate here, I am calling you every 2 weeks just to make sure you got everything in order. With our relocation specialist, she was good, but it was still some pointers that she still dropped the ball a little bit. So I'm just making sure that I give them everything that they need. Like if you got books, what you need to do with your books. If you got a child that goes to the hospital, scan all that stuff in. So I'm giving them all the tidbits, everything that I did to get over here. I'm giving them the same thing.
So you're helping find places to live as well?
I do have a local person that has a real estate agent or realtor. So I will hook them up with them once they get here.
Well, what about like in the interim, like the short term? Do you help them? Like, because you know, I know for me, when I look, one of the hardest parts is, okay, I want to come to Merida, but I don't know which area of Merida I want to stay in. You know, I want to be close to things, but I don't want to be right there in the middle of things. I need to make sure the area that I'm in is walkable, you know, that type of thing. Do you help, you know, like, so if I need to get that first Airbnb or rent a short-term apartment, do you help with that as well?
Yes, I do. Like I said, since I've been here for a year, I've found I have got acquainted with a lot of locals here. So I have personal drivers. I have about 3 or 4 personal drivers. One of the personal drivers, he has a realtor. So basically all I have to say is, hey, I have somebody that's coming on such and such day. They need a place for however long. Okay, he'll get right on it. He'll contact her and get right on it. I also walk the streets in my neighborhood to see what they have here, what's for rent, and I take down their numbers or take a picture of it.
Okay. What about do you help with like car rentals or buying a car? Because I know that can be.
No,
Do you feel like people need a car?
no.
Okay.
They
Okay.
don't- I mean, it's up to that person. If they used to driving, they can. But they have Uber, they have DD.
Okay.
And I mean, they might not feel comfortable in driving here.
Okay. Okay. Now, do you send your daughter to school or do you homeschool as well?
Just started homeschooling, so this is her first year in homeschool.
Okay. And what about you, Sophia?
Well, my beautiful little angel started teaching herself. See, so I've been reading to her since she was in the womb. And at 2 years old, she started reading to me. And I do mean reading. She knows big words, she sounds things out. We were learning sign language a little bit. Now she's in Spanish. She will correct me. So yeah, I try to teach her. I teach her new things, but I teach her not from, like, I don't have a curriculum or anything like that. Like I said, she's 4. So
Okay.
if we're doing things, then I teach her that way of what we're doing. What
Okay.
is this? How do you spell this word?
Okay.
Like, where do you put it? Like, colors. What's the color in Spanish?
Okay.
Days of the week. What is it in Spanish?
Okay.
Things like that, just in life.
All right. So a lot more homeschooling day to day, more like world schooling, some people would say. Are you familiar with the schools in the area? If, someone wanted to know about them, would you be able to point them in the right direction with that?
I can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And what about creating community? Because that's another big thing, a lot of where we go is a little less about the name of the country and more about the community around. So do you help them get plugged into the community?
Yes. What I do, I more say stick with the locals instead of
The
expats.
expats?
Yes. When you stick with the locals, it goes a long way than sticking with expats.
Why is that?
It's the
Because y'all all
mentality.
just made a face just now. So I need to know from all of y'all. Y'all all made this face. If I could have taken a picture, this face that you made was like, girl.
She posted this today, and on Instagram, someone had did like the top 5 places that people are moving to, Black people are moving to, and I have put in the comments, just like Erykah Badu said, bag lady, you gonna hurt your back. If you are moving to a new land, do not be how the Europeans were when they moved to America and started telling the natives that they were indigenous or savages and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I have encountered quite a few expats, whether in person or on these expat groups on social media or what, that wants to bring the States over here.
Yes.
And no.
That's basically Portugal in a nutshell at this point.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why people are kind of flipping from moving to Portugal, because they've created this expat haven in a sense, and they're actually pushing the Portuguese out, and they're no longer able to afford to live in their own land because, and it's not just Americans, it's Europeans, all of the expats have really kind of taken over some of that precious land that they once lived in.
Wow.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that was also happening in Hawaii. That's why when I went back after 2020, it's like it was a totally different animal. I just left in 2019 and I came back in 2021 and it was totally different. There were a lot more homeless people or houseless people.
Yeah.
Those with money or the ability with good credit, the ability to make investments and stuff. We're just kicking out people that had grew up there. There aren't many natives or locals and indigenous anyway, because that bloodline is kind of dwindling a bit. But and then they're moving to Oregon and Vegas, but
Wow.
but they are. So no, I totally get that. I have not seen that too much here.
Yeah.
I pray that it does not happen here. This is a very spiritual place,
Right.
with a lot of history that they still hone and cultivate. So I really hope people learn to respect that and to honor it and try to take a piece of it, you know, and help it grow versus trying to bring over their toxicities and old mentalities and, you know, think that that's going to work somewhere else. That's part of the reason why we started S.E.T, because there's so much growth. And I don't like to say the word healing because that seems to be everywhere right now, but there's so much unlearning and growing that needs to be done. And I don't think people realize it because it's what mama used to do. It's what grandma did. It's what, you know, we've been doing this for years, but honey, they have been tainting your brain for years. Like, it doesn't make sense.
So, little backstory on me for those that have been following me from a while. It is very well known that my grandmother was Panamanian. My whole family was Panamanian and Costa Rican. My mother is actually first American here. So I feel like I have the luxury of not being as brainwashed. You know, because it's interesting that a lot of the spiritual things that people are now learning and doing, we did regularly when I was a little girl. You know, Florida water was always in our house. So when Florida water started going up in price, I didn't understand. I was like, what's going on? Like, people started discovering Florida water. I was like, I thought y'all all mopped your floors with Florida water. No, like when people started discovering like crystals, I was like, y'all didn't know about that, you know. And it was like readings and spirituality. That was just something that I grew up with. So, you know, I have a good friend and she said she stepped into spirituality maybe in her 30s, and she'll say something and I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, well, let me explain it to you, Charisma, because I know that you know, but you don't like terms. I don't like all of these terms. How you said, you know, people have these terms, and, you know, I'm like, I don't know it like that. You know, it just was what it was. It wasn't this huge thing. And my journey started because I was being led by my grandmother to leave here. You know, I think I was just as much a nomad as she was, you know, because she traveled she was the first person here to go to New York, and she traveled from New York all the way down to New Orleans and some other places as well. And I would be right on that Greyhound bus with her. Back then we went on the planes. We were, we were on that Greyhound bus. So my journey started going to Panama and then Costa Rica, where my family came from. But 5 or 6 countries in, I went to Mexico, and I went to Mexico City for actually this last year for Day of the Dead. And I was supposed to stay for 2 weeks, which turned into a month. And then I said, okay, I want to go somewhere else. And I had already been to Playa del Carmen with the Exodus Summit. I don't know if you all are familiar with Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dow.
Oh, yes.
So I had gone with the Exodus Summit, and I was like, I don't know if this is kid friendly. And I said, well, maybe I'll do Merida for half the time, and then I'll do Playa for half the time. And even though everything told me to do Merida for half the time and Playa for half the time, my stubborn ass still went to Playa. And everything told me not to go there first. I went there first. First day we got there, disaster. Second day we got there, moving to Airbnb. Third day we were there, I was in a car accident.
Wow.
So car accident, I'm actually still recovering from. And I kicked myself because I'm like, if only I had followed my intuition and everything that was telling me, go to Merida. I would have been in Merida and not in Playa at that particular time. And I didn't know, and I still don't know a lot about Merida. So it's very interesting to me to hear you all say how spiritual it is, because I didn't know I was being led there. I actually, I'm pretty big in the Exodus community. So I actually had someone reach out to me while I was in Playa, and they was like, you and Cam can just come stay with us. Just come stay here. She was like, I have some extra room. You don't have to worry about paying anything. Stay here so you can heal and you can get better. And I was like, I didn't know this person personally. I was just like, wow, who are these people in this Merida place that just invite, for a lack of a better term, strangers to come stay with them. And Merida has stayed in the back of my mind. I have not yet made I'm still healing from my accident. So I'm actually in the process of getting a my Mexican residency. But, I'm like, I want to go to Kenya. I keep pushing myself to try to get to Kenya. And I tell y'all, shit just keeps happening that stop me from getting to Kenya. And I feel like I'm supposed to go to Merida, but I keep saying, I don't want to go to Merida. It's too hot in Merida. I can't survive in Merida. What do these people do in the day when it is so hot in Merida?
You stay in a house. Yeah. They don't even work until the sun goes down.
Some restaurants do not open until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kitchen, no, electric too high. We go AC.
So this is what stops me. And I think it's what stops other people from going to Merida. I would love to say that there is another factor, but it is the damn heat that stops us. It is the heat that slows us down. It is the heat that is keeping us away from visiting this place that you all keep talking about in Merida with this community of people. And when I went to Mexico, I tell people, Mexican people are some of the nicest people I have ever met, other than the ones that hit me and took no responsibility. But that's a different story. However, when I got hit, my nanny from Mexico City offered to fly down and watch my son. I had a new nanny in Playa, had only been with me a day and was helping me through everything. She went with me to police station. She was talking, translating everything. Like she took my son to the school that he was in because we were trying out a school. When I tell you, like, even when I got back, my friend that I met in Mexico City was still calling to check on me. She's a physical therapist, so she was giving me exercises. I still talk to the nanny in Mexico City. When I tell you, like, America has brainwashed us to think that Mexicans are awful. They're just trying to come over here and take our land over, when actually Americans stole the land, but we don't talk about that. Right. But they brainwash you to think that Mexicans are awful and they all want to come here. All of them don't even want to come here. They're like, why do you live there? Why do you want to be there? That place is awful. Right. They like, I don't want to be there. I don't know why y'all need a wall. I tell people I got to get my residency so they don't build before they build the wall and keep me out. So I say that to say that when you all say get to know the locals and don't change the land. Now, I'm a person, I like to know locals. I like to know expats. I'm kind of a mixture. I talk a lot, it is what it is. But I think it's important that you realize, like, out of all of the places that I've been, I've found that Mexicans, someone told me that you're an outsider until you're family. Like
Yes.
when they don't know you, they like, wait a minute. But then once they get to know you, you are family. Like my friend, she was like, you could come stay here. Like I had never had so many people tell me come stay here. Hell, where's my family telling me to come stay here? Yeah, I'm just kidding. I love my family dearly, but you know what I mean? Like these people you have known for less than a month. You know, the one that said to stay with her in Merida, she was an expat, but like they were so interested in helping me. So I don't want people to be like, oh, you know, but you know, they're locals, they're Mexican, they're this, they're that. Don't do that because that's what we're running from in the States.
Exactly.
So
Right.
I love that you all have this relocation and help people to ease this transition because it can be hard. Everywhere I go, people know my first week is rough. It's like always some stuff that's gonna go down. The internet ain't gonna work. The place ain't gonna be what it say it is. I'm on the wrong kind of street. I really shouldn't be staying there. You know, it eases that transition. But what I also want to talk about is I want to talk about S.E.T because that is a retreat, right? And I want to talk about that. So for people that may be like, okay, I don't necessarily want to move to Merida, or I'm not ready to move to Merida, but girl, when you talked about this spirituality, this healing, I know that word is cliche, but a lot of us are broken. So when we talk about healing, when we talk about, you know, spreading our wings, listening to our ancestors, following, you know, our intuition, I think, you know, the other day I was looking for a retreat. I think that may be how you found me. I was like, I need something for myself. I need to breathe. So tell us about the S.E.T, the retreats, what you offer, what you do, and how that can be life-changing for us.
Oh, okay. So the Set Your Intentions 7-day retreat, it is an ongoing retreat. It's just not a one-time only. We offer this from March until November. So we only accept 2 people per booking, max, yes. So we serve 2 people for that 1 week and we really go in. It's like boot camp. And we really try to get to your true essence. You know, remove the lipstick, remove the wigs, we're gonna strip you bare. We're gonna get down to your soul. What is your soul purpose? And so, come on, no matter what someone else says about you, what do you want to do with yourself? You know, what do you want to do with it? You're here for a reason. So we really get into the nitty gritty, the soul, the true essence. We use 2 locals here to help do some physical manipulation with you, through a Yucatan massage, through a Sabota massage. All of this manipulation, along with the spiritual part, along with just showing you how it feels to be served and be loved, and just be around kind people with no agenda, no hidden agenda. Not going to hurt you. Nobody's not going to do nothing. You are safe. That's what this retreat is about. My portion is to help you. I would document your journey here. So I'm documenting through videos, through pictures, through journaling. I'm like the mama. I'm gonna, come on, baby. You gotta get this. Come on, give me 5 more affirmations. Come on, I am. Come on. So I'm the drill sergeant when it comes to that. I'm the mothering. I'm the, you know, you crying. Okay, come on, I'm gonna wipe your tears, but we gotta get this done. Come on. I'm not gonna let you fall. I'm not gonna let you fail. Come on. And so that's what you're gonna get here. You're gonna learn how to love yourself for real. And I'm gonna show you. You're gonna learn affirmation. You're gonna learn how to be grateful, gratitude. You know, these are just principles that you're gonna learn to do while you're here, and you're gonna practice it. And so that's one part of the journey. Before you even get off the plane, we're doing a cleansing ceremony with you. We're gonna clean your aura. We're getting rid of all of that stuff off of you from whatever country you came from, because we need a clean slate. And so we really poured into you. There's 3 mothers here, we're 3 women here. We range from the age from the 30s to the 50s. So you have a whole range of experience here. And so this is not the time to be shy. I heard everything, I seen everything. So you can't blow my ears out and say, oh, can I? Yeah, okay, what else? What else you got? What else you got to say? What else happened? Okay, let's deal with this. Let's put this away. Let's put this past away and let's move forward. This is 2023. So that's what the Set Your Intention Retreat is. And so again, we take 2 people and we just pour into you. And so when you do return back to your country, you have a new light, you have a new aura, you have new directions, you have a new game plan. And don't forget, I'm going to be checking in on you. So you ain't seen the last of me because I'm a mama, remember? So I'm going to be on you. Hey, what you doing? Remember? And you've been checking your journal? Well, hey, day 1, I want to see some results. I'm going to hold you accountable. So that's what this is a lifelong relationship. This is not come for 7 days and bye-bye. No, this is a lifelong relationship.
So, Ebony, how do you play into this?
So when they book online, when they go to the website and fill out the form, I'm the one that's going to be talking with them while they're in their country. So if they're in the States, in Texas, and then I'm talking with you, I'm asking about your passport. I'm asking about when do you want to come? Do you need assistance in flights? The money that we provide, they have to provide us with the deposit. And when they provide us with the deposit, then that deposit goes towards their hotel. So I am giving them all the logistics before they even get here. So I'm the first one that they're talking to since I'm the relocator visitor. I'm the first people I'm talking to them firsthand and asking all the questions. So let them know about the money exchange, let them know about their cell phone. So I'm giving them the whole logistics.
So technically, if they book this 7-day, they even getting the relocation information.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, let me make a note.
Yes,
So wait a minute now. I get a 2 for 1 and I get some cleansing too. All right now. So yeah, so tell me, what do you is there a certain hotel that you put them in, or it just depends on what their preference is, and is that included?
So the hotel is actually the hotel that's located near us. So we're walking distance from them. So if you need us, if we need to get to you, that's no worries, because we can just walk to you. So that's it. And basically, when they book or when I call you, that's when I'll give you the link to do the deposit. The deposit is 1,000 USD.
Okay.
Per person.
Okay. And does that include hotel?
That includes the hotel, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Massage, transportation to and from the airport, as well as to the events, or like the massage location. We have a day for the beach, transportation to the beach, because water is healing. Yes. You gotta ground your energy, get out there in that sand. We also set up, you get to go to the temples, right? So the 7th wonder of the world, and go visit there and feel that energy of the history there. And I think a lot of people have ancestors here and they don't know. Like, they've been telling us we all from Africa and everything, but hold up now. You know, I think some of us are here, or whatever. It doesn't matter, because we're all people, we're all humans, but there are so many of us that have been drawn here. There is a reason you have been drawn to this place.
Okay. And what do you offer during this retreat?
Me? Okay. I do tarot. I do. So when they book, we have their name, and then I have my client form that they fill out their date of birth and location of birth. And from that, I do the astrology. So I look at, where the planets and stars and everything was aligned at the time of your birth and see what that means for you. And in which house they're in, which zodiac and all that jazz. So that's my homework beforehand, along with the numerology. Numerology of the first name, last name, whole name, if that's what you want to provide for me. As well as your birthday, and see, there are oftentimes common numbers, and then those numbers start to come up in the actual reading. And it just paints this big picture for me of who this person is and who their family is, like the generations in their bloodline. So my portion is pretty much the, the spiritual, intuitive, celestial side of it all. And so when they actually get here, they get a 2-hour reading with me where I go over all of that, as well as what's important to you. What are you here to focus on? Are you trying to connect with your child that you brought with you? Are you looking to pursue your own career, possibly? You don't like what you're doing. Whatever it is that comes up in the reading, and that's what we go over and talk about. And Tonya helps record that information to, keep them on track. We have days, like you're not going to be doing something every single day. This retreat is to help you, the whole of you, holistic healing in a sense. Connect with nature, connect with people in a different way, connect with yourself. That's why we only allow 2 people max, because you might want to come with your parent or with your child. You might want to come with your spouse. This person is a part of you. You come with your best friend. This person is a part of your life and a part of your journey. You two are connected. Your souls are connected through time for some reason. So let's look at how we can make this better. Let's look at how we can remove what you think you should be doing. Standing at altars in Las Vegas, getting married because you think you're the checklist, but that's not what your spirit's calling you to do. So if I had done this for myself then I probably wouldn't be meeting me today. So some of the things that we go through, we need to go through in order to get to our present point, or maybe your future point. Those life lessons are necessary. And that's something that we hope to provide for you with this retreat. Don't judge yourself. Don't be mad at yourself. It's okay. Matter of fact, the 5th house in Capricorn says that you would go through this at this time in your life. And then this reading here says such. Like it literally all comes together. And we hope to help people to connect the dots as well as connect with the land.
Okay. So do you need to prepare to do your readings, or are you able to do impromptu?
It depends. I have done, I've done email readings. Well, I do email readings as well. So with that, for example, I had a client, this guy was 51. And he was 60. Anyway, the number 7. And he was a Cancer, 7th month, but 7s kept showing up for him in his reading. And while I was in that and doing his numerology, I was led to astrology. Now I study astrology. I'm not so much an intuitive astrologer. I do have to get into the books. I do have to do some calculating and all that kind of stuff. But I follow my intuition. I know what I'm being led to. And I'm like, no, this sounds like such energy. This sounds like Scorpio energy. But it has to do with the 8th house, because that has to do with inheritance or taxes or whatever. So, I may know something. I just want to check myself before I go delivering to other people.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked is because I know sometimes people are skeptical when it comes to the readings and astrology and tarot. So I was going to say, if you wanted to, you could do a quick reading on me and, present.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get my card.
Okay, that's great. Then we can do that. I'm going to talk to the ladies while you do that. She is hilarious. So it's 7 days. What day do you come in?
Sunday.
You come in on Sunday. Do things get started on Sunday, or that's just
No.
to get settled day?
That's to get settled. So myself as well as I have a personal driver. So we'll pick you up from the airport. I have a sign with your name on it.
All
Say,
right.
welcome in, welcome in. And then we take you to the hotel, and then we have a little reception for you guys, or a welcome reception. And then you go relax. After we cleanse you, you go relax, and we'll see you next day.
Okay.
So the next day is when everything begins, and then everything ends. All the events end on Saturday. They have a goodbye dinner that we also do, and then Sunday, that's when they leave. So it's from Sunday to Sunday.
Okay. Are any meals or drinks included?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, so you have the dinner at the end.
Yes, but dinner here is not expensive like normal, like other
It's
places.
not.
It's not.
Like
It's
less
not.
than $10.
It's not gonna break the bank. So,
Right.
Now whatever you want to do, whatever they want to do outside of us after they leave us, then that's on them.
Okay.
But any of the events, because everything is we already have the itinerary laid out. So nothing changes. Everything is set in stone, so to speak.
Okay. And then for the events, do one of you accompany the individual, or?
We all do.
Oh, okay.
You want to see us all week.
Okay. And then I like that, I've never heard it where you said you can bring your child. So, as somebody that's a single mom, I like that idea as well. If I decided I wanted to bring my child.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a minimum of 2 people, or if one person wanted to come, and you didn't have someone else booked, is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. 1 to 2 people, that's fine.
Okay. And you said a deposit was $1,000. What's the balance for that?
400, what was it? 445, was it
4,000 and 4,000.
You want to know the whole total?
What's the total?
The whole total is 5,500.
Hold on. Say it again. You went out a little bit.
5,500.
Okay. So you pay the balance when you get there. Can they do payment plans, or you
Yes.
just, okay. Okay. So all of that's available when they go on your website and when they speak with you.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So when they go to the website, it's gonna be a form they fill out. They fill it out. Once I retrieve it, then that's when I call them.
Okay.
And then once we get to talking, then I'll send them the link for the $1,000. And then if they want to do a payment plan, we can set that up for them.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. And do you have other retreats, or is this the primary retreat?
Yes. So I have an upcoming retreat in June, and it's called the 5-Star Customer Experience. So that's my world. That's my playground.
Okay.
I love interacting with customers, meeting new people, helping entrepreneurs with their customers. And so that's what I'm good at. That's what I do. So this retreat is also a 7-day retreat, and I'm giving you my playbook. It's called the Tonya Cummings 5-Star Female Customer Experience. So this is the method I've been using with other entrepreneurs when I help them with their clients. And so, so far, so good. And so I expanded when I moved here. Again, when you move abroad, you have to learn how to repurpose and rebrand yourself. And that's what I had to do. And I had the same company in the States, but it was not working at all.
Okay.
They didn't want it. And so I was like, okay. So I brought it here, and it's well received here. I'm in the process of expanding to locals, and also training customer experience with some of the locals that can't speak English.
Okay.
And so that's the upcoming retreat. It's in June. So more details are coming with that. And it's going to be like a 5-day workshop, and also you're going to really get hands-on or really learn how to do customer experience internationally and adapting the strategies for your own business. And so, yeah.
And is that in person or online?
In person.
Okay, in person in Merida.
It's in
Okay.
person. I'm only accepting 10 people because I want to keep my trainings very intimate because we're going to be doing a lot of groundwork. We're going to be out in the streets, doing some customer service. I'm going to show you how it's done here, what it looks like, what it feels like, along with applying the strategies.
Okay. Okay. And do you have a price point for that yet or not yet?
Yes, so that price point right now is, you know what, I gotta go back to my website.
Okay, that's okay. So make sure. Look at your sister looking at you now.
No, go ahead.
If you don't know, don't announce it. Yeah, if you don't know, don't announce
It didn't change so many times.
Yeah. Here at this brunch shop, and we're gonna be doing different restaurants each day of the week. So that's where my head is. So I haven't even put a price on it yet. I'm just
Okay.
thinking how fun we're gonna have. So,
Okay. Yeah, if you're not ready, don't announce it. If you have a little something you want to give, you know, people that watch this, you know, let us know and we'll put that in there as well. You know,
Okay.
so let me know and we'll have all of that for y'all in the description.
Okay.
Oh, let's see what else. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what do you need from me?
Nothing right now. We're gonna do, I just got my tarot decks. These are my tea leaves.
Okay.
And I have 2 other tarot decks for now. We'll see if one of these come out. It's not an addiction. It's not. So I don't know. I was feeling one of the decks for you. So
Okay.
do you have a topic or is there something in particular? I mean, is there, you just want to do general or what you want to do?
We can do general.
Okay, so let's just see. I already did my prayer. So let's see. what's got for you? You're so funny. Oh, so let me just say this. When I first picked up this bag, I have my crystal in here too, cleansing. It came out with something like a very positive card for you. It was the Gong. And I read it very briefly, but you guys were talking. So I do not remember what exactly it said, but it was very positive for you. Now, in conjunction with that, you have wind charms. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it says peace and harmony. Peace and harmony. So I feel like for you in general, because I had to look at you. Once you said you wanted a reading, I had to actually look at you to get a reading and a feel for you. Oh, no, wait a minute. We're doing too much now.
Okay. Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Excuse the decor. So anyway, with the peace and harmony, I'm thinking about how you actually bring that kind of energy to people wherever you go. Ooh, carrot, opportunity or windfall.
Okay. The carrot.
So let me
Okay.
say- yeah, let me say real quick, when it comes to these tea leaves and the charms, they don't lie. They don't lie. They can be very, here she go whispering, they don't. I did a reading for her and that's all I'm gonna say about it. But they can be vague, but if you keep them in mind, like you, since you're taking notes, you might wanna take notes of what these are. You'll see it come to fruition in some type of way. And I'm gonna pull one more tea leaf for you before I pull out the tarot deck. Crystal. April seems to be very important for you.
I don't know why, but you tell me.
Let's see. Because now I'm intrigued. Okay, I'm supposed to be honest about what I'm feeling. Stop. When is your birthday?
I'm gonna type it for you.
Okay. I mean, just the month.
August.
Okay. So April has to do with spring, obviously. Opportunity, peace and harmony. Oh, when do you plan on coming to America?
When am I? I don't know yet.
I don't need, I'm just. I keep hearing April because April's popped up. Now, I do feel like, I know how this sounds, but I'm telling you what I feel. With that being spring and with the cherry blossoms being there, just new beginnings, new energy, something refreshing, new start. And like I said, opportunity or windfall is here. So a new opportunity could possibly come in the spring. So every day I've been doing readings for like general daily readings on my Facebook page and on TikTok. And today and yesterday, the Ace of Wands came up, which talks about new things, new starts and stuff like that happening this weekend in particular. So with that, as I was talking to you, that way, we have to charge the laptop.
Okay.
As I was talking to you, that Ace of Wands was coming into my head because it talks about intuition, inventions, some type of new beginning. I'm thinking passion. I just keep feeling passion, fiery type energy. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right, let's just see what pops out. Yes. All right, Spirit, is there anything that you have for Cleveland? That's a lot for Cleveland. You have a lot on your plate right now.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on getting it off.
Yeah, a quarter of my deck came out of my head. That's yeah, a lot she doing. Okay, so the first card out. Oh, balance, honey. You got to find balance in your life, and that's very important. So with Temperance being with the major arcana card, it feels like that's going to be necessary. Wait a minute, aren't you recovering from an accident or something?
Yeah, that's
So
what made me get rid of things. I just couldn't do it. Let's see, we're frozen. There we go. Okay, you're back.
We froze because the 10 of Cups come. Oh, wow, synchronicity. So that has to do with a happy home, peace and harmony. And that's what I was feeling. That's what I was thinking. That talks about emotional balance and just feeling very good and safe in the environment that you're in. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm working on that.
It's coming. We're working on it. It's definitely. So that's part of that balance energy. There's that ending. It's coming soon. That's that ending. This is 10 of Swords. So whatever it is that's in your head, clouding you and everything, you're removing things to get to this balance. Yeah. The alignment. What else we got? What is she not telling us that we need to know about?
Was this a good idea?
Yes. Okay. No. Okay. I'm gonna say it again. You're going into something totally different. You're going into something totally different. 10 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands. 10s talk about starting a new cycle as well as closing a cycle. You are fine. Whatever it is that you're doing, keep it up. That balance that you're seeking. So right now we are in Pisces. Ooh, I love it. We are in Pisces season. Pisces is the end of the zodiac before we get into Aries, which starts it at 1 with those cherry blossoms. That new beautiful energy, that opportunity windfall. So whatever it is that you're getting rid of, perfect timing, because something amazing is coming your way. Ooh, I'm excited. Can we keep in touch?
We can. Right.
Now, with this, let me give you a warning. This is the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords normally talks about somebody that likes drama, someone that might like chaos, and someone a bit immature. They use their head more than their heart. They don't have this balanced energy. They just like, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go do. And they end up, falling on their face. Have you seen this show, Game of Thrones?
I've just heard of it. I'm probably the only American that hasn't seen
No, yeah.
Game of Thrones.
No, I did that for everybody. And then they had a tarot deck too. That was it. So with this, let me just say, this character in here, not the nicest guy, not the best guy. He is the perfect one for this card. This is not the energy you want to be in. This is, oh, because of who I am, I can do great things. I'm thinking Leo energy, but if you're a Leo, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying it's the energy. Okay. So Leo energy, because they're kind of boastful, kind of showy, not all of them, for those that are watching. I'm not talking about all of you, just saying
Most
some.
of y'all.
A little bit boastful and maybe a little bit arrogant. So they think because of who they are or what they're capable of doing, that they have all of it together. So this could be someone around you. It could be somebody in your life. It could be someone that you're removing. Or it could just be you actually making moves, because you're having, nights also have to do with actions. They're the ones actually doing the job that the king has set out for them to do. So it could also be that you are in that position of confusion. I can't deal with this that's going on around me. So I'm taking these moves to remove things from my life. Like I said, the temperance is here talking about balance and wisdom. We have Samuel here that's all up in the books. He's getting his knowledge. He's getting all the information that he needs. We have a light in the background and light in the foreground. So he's taking whatever information from the past, his past experiences, and moving forward. Getting that, okay, no, that didn't work out for me. What I'm not going to do is take that with me into my future. Let me clean house. Let me close these books right here and take this action necessary to get there, because I'm about to go into this opportunity in spring, in April. Blossoms bloom in the wind. Okay, oh, hold on. You don't trip that? Let's see here. New phases. Something is going to be revealed to you. The moon card talks about, like I said, phases. With it being the full moon and us just going through the Pisces new moon, I don't remember what the full moon is coming up, but I will say this. It's not too late to set your intentions. That wasn't a plug. Write it out, and I'm sure you're the type of person that does write out. But definitely write out where it is that you want to be. And plus, writing gives it fuel. That's that energy. Just write it out what you want to get clarity of your direction, because you're definitely entering that new phase. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm so excited. So I'm going to pull out another deck. And I'm going to see what. So this is my vice versa deck. There's pictures on. So this stood out to me. I haven't shuffled this deck yet. But whenever someone wants a reading, I always look at the thing that's first showing in my face. And the Four of Cups showed up for me. And I was like, oh, where's she going? What's she waiting on? What's she doing? Now with these tea leaves, that could mean you're waiting to hear new information. Four of Cups normally has to do with at least this side of it, because we have a ship there. We have the ship in the background. It's a little cloudy, a little hard to see. There's a little fog and everything. And we have those four spelled cups, but we're right there in the ocean, in the horizon. That makes me think of endless possibilities. And beginnings coming in. So I'm gonna leave that there for you just to see. We have the Eight of Pentacles. That talks about working, mastering your skills. But why come back though?
What is that one? The Ten of Swords?
Yes. Why come back though? What?
So what does that mean again? This is an enemy?
No, it's not an enemy. That talks about an ending. Now, oftentimes, so this is the side that you got. As you can see, he done been through some stuff, but he got that armor off and he got out of it. We also see the eclipse in the background. New phases, changes, new beginnings, opportunities. Don't forget April.
Lord, April's gonna make me nervous, y'all.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Don't look for it. I mean, I understand it's like on the spot and all that. I mean, they normally are on the spot. I don't necessarily know what people are doing and saying beforehand, but what I'm getting from this is whatever heartache, whatever pain, whatever dysfunction has not been working in your life, it's about to be done. It's going to be completely cleared out. You are going into a completely different energy, and what you're doing, keep doing it. Whatever skills, projects, whatever you're working on, stay focused, keep working on it. Find balance, because you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur, you probably a lot more than that. So find your balance. Don't stress yourself out, because it's coming. It's coming. Wait for it. You're already in alignment with it. I'm gonna see what else comes out for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. Now, I don't, and another thing with me, I do lives on Instagram and on Facebook, but with that, there's multiple energies within the room, which is why I like working one-on-one with people. And then, of course, if I'm doing video conferences, it's just me and that other person. Everything's strictly confidential. I don't know nobody who I'm telling your business to. But with that, and it allows people to be vulnerable. It allows them to, you know, let their hair down. I'm stressed out. I don't know what's going on. Okay, honey, look, the card fell. This is what's happening. So I like doing that. With this right here, it's not just you and I. So I think this is information that you need to hear now, not necessarily it's what you need to hear now. And I'm gonna leave it like that. So this joker came up twice. I ignored him the first time he came, but he don't came back. This also talks about balance. We also have another ship in the background that's coming in. Now with this card, I think, oh, look at her. Look at the bottom of the deck. We're gonna get to her in a minute. So with this reminds me of preparing yourself. That's what that is. Something's about to happen for you in April. So right now, keep your head down, keep doing your work, mastering whatever skill it is, because eventually you're gonna be on a stage. You see that audience up there on the other side? Eventually that ship is coming in. Whatever you've been waiting for, it will arrive. It's gonna get to the show. It's coming. Now you might not even see, now April doesn't necessarily mean when it's coming. April could just be the transition of energy that will lead you to it. But okay, so let's talk about this queen right here. Look at her in her element, grounding. This is the socialite. She likes to host parties. She likes to bring people get together. She likes to communicate with those people, but she's coming from a place of pure passion. She don't put on airs. She's not trying to, you know, be showy or anything like that. This is who I am. I'm quite genuine, and this is what I love. And this is what, you know, this is my true expression. And I feel like that is you, Miss Carissa.
Thank you.
You're a people person. You did say you're a people person. It's just the fact that she's sitting in this chair in the woods with her eyes closed. It's like meditation, like whatever she's expressing is truly from her soul, from her passion. It's what I love to do. You don't like it? That? It's like a Manhattan chick, you know? So it is what it is. Now I'm thinking cabaret, but you know, that's just the feeling that I get with that. Oh yes, okay, I said I was done. Hold on. So I couldn't even shuffle the cards before things started coming out. You got two cards. This is you building something, creating something wonderful and stable. You think about how a pyramid is. With only 3 sides, it still does not fall over. It's quite structured and stable, grounded energy. And then look at you in the back, the magician, going out into the world, promoting peace, using all her power, all of her abilities. Look at this. So now. This is the sun setting. This is the ending. This is the sun setting. And I say that because in the Rider-Waite deck, which is the deck you normally see, there's a person on the ground with 10 swords in his back, and you see the sun setting in the background. And it makes you think about darkest before the dawn. Look at the sunset.
Mm.
Things are ending, and you got this twice. Twice. Look at the sky changing. Girl, please, whatever you're working on is gonna be great. Whatever you're doing, it's gonna be great. Oh, one more game. What did I'm gonna show them, and then I'm gonna show you. Okay. What does that look like?
Oh, yeah, I see two things.
Mhm.
Didn't I say earlier that it made me think about the Ace of Wands?
Yeah.
Mm.
New beginnings. Look at that messenger coming in,
Okay.
bringing new opportunity.
Mm.
I'm gonna say here, my business. So that concludes your reading today, ma'am. I hope you enjoyed yourself. No, I'm not gonna do the charms, because they're gonna tell me the same thing. They actually might put more information out here that we're not ready.
Oh, okay.
If you want the charms, I will bring the charms out. Do you want the charms?
Sure, I don't know what a charm is.
Like charm bracelets?
Oh, okay. What'd you say over there?
I got my backpack. I got my backpack over there. Of all my little compartments and stuff.
Yes.
Just talking about if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Hey. Oh, that sounds like that Eight of Pentacles information. That's like this two of, that's exactly what this is. He's not in front of the audience yet. He up here working, mastering his skills, juggling by himself right there on the pier. He don't even know what's coming in. He doesn't even know what's coming in. He don't see that ship. It's too cloudy for all that. I'm focused on what I'm doing, minding my business, and then I can perform. Then, because I'm the magician, I can put everything out there. You said it, I didn't say it, I just, you know.
What's she doing? Wait, hold that up. What is going on here? Right? Don't be hiding.
These are the charms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what falls. Now, I'm the type of charm reader. I throw. I pick some, let them fall. I read what even falls on the floor, because that lets me know what energy could be outside of you that you're not aware of, what could be coming to you. It just lets me know stuff. But I don't know until it actually I don't know. So this is my my crystal that I use to clean my decks and my wands and whatnot. So
What is it? Selenium?
Yes.
Selenium? Selenite.
that's why I'm gonna say it. Now you got me looking foolish on TV. You know what it is, though. You know the person.
I have one. I just kind of let it sit there.
Yes, because it never needs to be charged or cleansed or anything. So yeah.
Mhm.
See you. All right. Anything next person. Something fair. I heard it on the floor. Tap, tap, tap somewhere. Okay. I see protection. You are being protected. Are you, I wanted to ask this earlier, but I didn't know if it was appropriate. Are you in a relationship or hoping to be in one?
In one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I say that because I see the heart arrow at the bottom of the Two of Pentacles. So I feel like that's something we should talk about. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that off the camera. Okay.
Yeah, I see the travel. You're definitely moving on. It's everything. It's pretty much reiterating everything. Persistence, 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 and stability. It's pretty much reiterating everything that I had already told you. Money is coming. Money is definitely coming directly to you. Whatever financial issues, I don't feel like financial issues that you're having them, but if you are, it's ended. I'm gonna leave the rest for when we are.
Okay, y'all. So she can't be telling all my business to y'all, so she don't have to tell me. So, but y'all, she doing readings. And as you all can see, she is the real deal. She got her stuff with her. We did not plan this ahead of time.
No.
Got that bag with her and ready to go. You said you do lives. Tell us your Facebook and your IG.
Okay, so on Facebook, you could go to Sophia's Joyful, SOPHIAS JOYFUL. And on Instagram, I am Sophia's Joy_Tarot.
Okay, so we'll put that in there. And tell me the S.E.T website.
It's TC Total Wellness .wix WIX site SITE.com/S.E.T Retreat.
We'll definitely have that in there.
Yes.
Do you want to throw out your handle as well, your Facebook or IG?
Our business page is Patsy's Daughters Moved Abroad on Facebook as well on Instagram.
Okay. All right. You snuck to the back. Let us know. What do you want to throw out for us? Because you do some other things as well.
Yeah, so I restarted baking cakes again, and I bought brought these cakes to Merida, Mexico. So we was pretty popular in the States. And if you want a homemade pound cake, I will bake one for you. They're delicious. It tastes better here. The ingredients are
Probably the ingredients.
I mean, the butter. And so, so whenever you come visit Merida, you have a pound cake waiting for you. And we got some more future things coming along with that also, but I can announce it. But
And when you book with us for your Set Your Intentions 7-day retreat, you'll get a cake.
yes.
Oh, cool.
Maybe half a cake if I get it.
If she get it first, y'all better make sure that flight ain't late.
Exactly.
She's talking about, I don't know what to tell you. So, all right. Well, I think this was wonderful. Anything else, ladies, that we missed?
I think we covered everything.
I think this was absolutely wonderful. Insight to everything, tarot readings, insight to, how these ladies went from the States, Hawaii, looked into Paris, all of this stuff, and ended up right here in Merida and is offering us something wonderful. All of the links will be in the description for you to reach out to each of them, and to reach out to S.E.T for the retreat. And if you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with somebody if you know somebody that this can benefit from this information. And I hope to see you all next time. Ciao.
Bye.